The problem that we're always trying to solve for the fan is how close can we get them to the game, right? Knowing that, again, 99% of people will never step foot in the arena. They've built these domes, essentially half domes, these buildings, and they're streaming 8K versions of the game in this physically immersive environment. It's something else to feel like you're actually standing where the players are standing, watching the champion Matt McClung that year do his dunks. It's just the fact that most people will not be able to enjoy going to an actual NBA game. So we're always thinking about how do we bring the game closer to them. We're always figuring out where's that line of the things that we think we can achieve. Not virtual reality, not mixed reality, but shared reality.
Hey, this is Carlos, CEO at Product School and your host on the Product Podcast. This is a very special episode for me because it was recorded from our podcast studio in New York with one of my favorite product leaders. His name is Jay Lee, and he's the Senior Vice President of Product at the NBA. The National Basketball Association was founded in 1946 and is one of the most popular sport leagues in the world with over 1 billion fans. Jay leads consumer product experience and product strategy for the NBA's digital portfolio, including the NBA app, NBA.com, NBA ID membership, fantasy and gaming, and the League Pass, which is the NBA's direct-to-consumer streaming subscription service, available in over 220 countries worldwide. Prior to joining the NBA, Jay held key product roles at Nike and ESPN. In this episode, we explore Jay's rationale behind redesigning the NBA app, how he's pushing the boundaries of technology to deliver an excellent fan experience with features such as real-time scores, multi-language broadcast, and offline viewing options for 99% of the fans that will never set foot in an NBA arena. I love the last part where we get a sneak peek into the future of sports technology, including virtual reality. Let's dive in. Welcome, Jay.
Thanks for having me.
It's awesome to have you because you and I go way back. I remember we first met at a ProdCon.
That's right.
Right? And to have you here now as the VP of Product at the NBA, it's really an honor.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm excited for this conversation. So
one fun fact is that you lived in the Canary Island, right?
Yes. I
Tell
grew
me
up in the
more
Canary Islands. I lived in Spain for 4.5 years, and it was really during the formative time for me as a sports fan. So I really came to love sports, and I came to love basketball growing up in the Canary Islands, which wasn't that common. Everybody loved football, but I really fell in love with basketball, and I used to get highlights through a sports program show every week that would just do 4 or 5 minute highlights that I now know were coming from NBA Entertainment. I didn't know that back then. And that was how I found out what was happening in the world of basketball. That and Gigantes magazine, which I used to pick up every week at the kiosk and just wait so that I could read through it voraciously and find out what was happening. So my fandom started there, and it's been a real nice full circle moment for me to be a part of the NBA now. My first time walking through one of our buildings in New Jersey, where NBA Entertainment produces all of this content, I remember walking through and seeing posters that I had in my bedroom as a child in Spain growing up, and so I felt really warm about that whole experience, and I'm happy to be here there.
So tell me more about what you do today. What does product mean at the NBA?
Yeah, so to think about product at the NBA, we have to actually step back a little bit and think about the journey that the NBA has been on, really since about 2018. I joined then, and we assembled a small group of people to envision what the future of sports media could be. And we called this initiative the Next Gen Initiative. And the outcome of that was an investment in technology, fan engagement, game distribution, and an expansion of the D2C organization, including the product organization. And we built the platform that now powers the NBA app. And when I say we rebuilt the platform, we built everything from the streaming service, new cloud provider, identity service, entitlement service, purchase flows, content management system, API layers, data and analytics platforms, and of course, the top of that tech stack, which is a new redesigned and rebuilt NBA app across all platforms, which my team was responsible for. And so that all took place right before 2022 when we launched the new app experience ahead of the 22-23 season, and we've been iterating on it since.
So tell me more about that app experience, because I can imagine you are there's fans all over the world. So how do you segment those different audiences?
Yeah, the fans all over the world is right. And if I can just talk a little bit about just the NBA and its global reach in general, because I think that's important to understand the digital aspect in the NBA app as well. So uh, on my walk over here, I go through Rockefeller Center where we work or nearby there. And it's always interesting to me to hear different languages spoken by a lot of the tourists that are in town. And in the summertime, you see a lot of NBA jerseys. And that's a microcosm of how fast the NBA and basketball is growing in terms of fandom around the world. We have over 1 billion fans in the world that are NBA fans over the ages of 6. Um, I, I didn't know this stat, but 585 million people play basketball, right? I'm no longer one of them so much because of injuries, but that's just reflects how fast the game is growing. And if you look at our league and its players, 125 players last season were on NBA rosters that were international players. That's a quarter of our league. And these aren't just players. Like when I was growing up in Spain, the international players that were in the NBA weren't necessarily all-star players, or they were all-stars who were at the end of their careers. Arvydas Sabonis, Drazen Petrovic, people like that. But now the players that are international players in the league are all-stars. They are our MVPs. We've had a foreign-born player win the MVP, the most valuable player award at the NBA in the last 6 seasons. The first draft pick last year was Victor Wembanyama from France, or 2 years ago. Last year it was, or this past year it was Zachary Rissache from France as well. So that is a reflection of how fast the game is growing, and we see it in our fans as well. And they are expecting us to deliver them an experience that is tailor-made for them. And the easiest way to do that is through the NBA app and through our NBA.com platforms. And so we're always thinking about different fans, how they're using our product, whether they're here in the US and they want to follow live, or whether they can't follow live or outside the US or in different markets.
Because I can imagine there's a big difference between the fans who are still not in the arena, but within the same time zone so they can follow a game live versus the ones who maybe are sleeping. And when they wake up and want to see what happened, do not want to see the results yet, right? So how do you think about catering experiences for those type of segments?
Yeah, 99% of our fans, of those 1 billion fans that I mentioned, will not set foot in an NBA arena, right? We've 30 arenas, there's a limited number of games, and it's just the fact that most people will not be able to enjoy going to an actual NBA game. So we're always thinking about how do we bring the game closer to them. And so for people who are not able to attend a game but want to follow live, we are working on a lot of different features that bring the game closest to them as fast as possible. Our League Pass streaming service is something that's available in over 200 countries on all platforms, and that's the best way to watch NBA live games. But even if you're not watching and you want to follow what's happening live, this season we're going to introduce something called real-time scores, which is essentially fast scores from the arena to your phone in less than a second. So you'll see exactly what's happening on your phone as you're following on the NBA app, as if you were sitting there in the arena. And for those people then who want to watch live, obviously we have a lot of push notifications, game start alerts, things that fans and subscribers can with one tap open up and immediately be taken into a live stream of the game. And then from there, different fans want to watch in different ways. So we offer all the different broadcasts that are available for these games. It could be the home broadcast, the away broadcast. We also have alternate broadcasts that we do with some of our former NBA players like Quentin Richardson. He runs a program called NBA Hooper Vision, which is a really nice alternate broadcast stream. We have NBA Strategy Stream that's really focused on the ins and outs of the game. And then, of course, we also have a lot of in-language streams as well for our international audience that's watching. We have in-language broadcasts in Portuguese, Spanish, French, Korean. We have a ClipperVision product in the LA market that every game that's available through that product to Los Angeles-based fans who want to follow the Clippers can watch in Spanish and in Korean. So that's for people who want to watch live. And obviously, even people who are in the right time zone to watch live can't always watch immediately. Mm-hmm. So We give everyone the ability to scrub back and forth at any point in the time in the game. So you jump in the third quarter, you want to go all the way back to the beginning, you can. Or if you want to pause the game and come back later, you can do that as well. And then you mentioned people overseas, right? So live for a lot of people, for people in Spain, means 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Even for Spain, that's a little late. So for those people who still want to follow the live action as if it were happening live for them, the next morning is when they really engage with our products. And so we've worked over the years to make sure we have features like hide scores on the app that remove all indication of what happened the night before. And simply when you go to watch a game, it will start you from the beginning of that stream, and you can watch uninterrupted as if it were live. We also know that a lot of people who are doing that are not just sitting at home, they're going to work, or they're moving between places, doing what they do in the morning. They have their different routines, and they want to take the game with them. So this season we have download for offline viewing. You take any game that we have stored in the cloud, pull it down to your device, and watch it. You could watch a 10-minute condensed game. You could take the full 2+ hours, or you could take a 40-minute version that shows every possession, but in a stitched format that allows you to consume the whole game live, or as if it were live. So we're always thinking about those different use cases, those different fans in different markets, and how they want to consume the game.
Because at the end of the day, it's the same app. You are just localizing it in a way that feels very, very specific to the user.
Yeah, and we let the user control how they want to see it. There's a lot of fans here in the US who want hide scores on because they don't want the results to be spoiled. It's very hard to live your life without having the live game spoiled for you. But we want to make sure that we're contributing to that.
So in terms of Gen AI, are there any specific use cases that are helping your business move forward?
Yeah, so we're experimenting a lot with AI, and for us, the problem isn't different just because we have new technology. And what I mean by that is that what we're always looking to solve for is how can we bring fans closer to the game? How can we tell the story of the game in a way that is interesting to them, compelling to them, and relevant to them? And AI allows us to do that a little bit differently than we've done in the past. So we've launched a product called AI Insights within our game experience, within our NBA app. And what AI Insights solves for the user is this problem of, I have all this data, I have all these numbers about what's happening in the game. I can see the score from quarter to quarter. I can look at the box score, analyze the stats of each player. I can look at the play-by-play and see what happened each second. But I still am missing the context of what's actually happening in the game, why the score is what it is. And so what we do is, through AI, we take all of those insights and we share them back to the user in a feed of information. We cover things like player milestones, or at the end of a quarter. I don't know who your favorite team is at the NBA, if you have one. Maybe.
Well, Golden State Warriors, just because I live in San Francisco.
Okay, great. That's a good team to follow. It could be an interesting season for them this year without Klay Thompson. We'll see how they adjust. But the Golden State Warriors, it's a great example. So the AI insights that we have now won't just tell you Steph Curry has 30 points, right? But he'll tell you, okay, Steph Curry scored 5 straight 3-pointers in the third quarter, which led to a 15-4 run that brought the Golden State Warriors back from 5 points down to now 8 points up. And they held the opposing team to 30% field goal. So it was their defense that helped cap that quarter. And we'll send that recap through these AI insights at the end of the quarter. That kind of information, if you wanted to figure that out while following the game on your phone, you'd have to guess it, right? And so we're just trying to make the game more understandable and easier for fans that way, to give them that story of the game. So we're experimenting also with different tones, right? Can we talk to you as a fan if you want a more instructional version of that, or if you really want a deep, insightful, expert-driven analysis about, say, the number of pick and rolls that Draymond Green and Steph Curry are running together, could tell you that as well, because we have all of that information. And it's just about how can we package that and tell the story to you.
That's so fascinating, because obviously player or sports analytics has been around for a long time. But this sounds more like real-time insights that is drawing connections that would just take longer to get otherwise.
Exactly. And sometimes you may not even know as a fan that there's a certain milestone that's happening. You may not know that, well, everyone knew when Steph Curry broke the record for 3-pointers, but you may not know that Draymond Green just hit a career high for assists, right? Or that the Warriors as a team have, out-rebounded this team for the 16th consecutive time or something like that. And so I think there's a lot of insights like that we can
In
provide.
terms of insights for your product, in terms of success metrics, like what are some of those key leading indicators that show that a fan is actually a fan?
Yeah, it's a great question. Like most product managers that have a product, whether it's a new startup or an established entity or brand like the NBA, we always want to make sure that we're acquiring new fans, new users into our product and keeping them there and keeping them engaged. So at a top level, like all product managers, we're focused on new user acquisition, new user retention, and those metrics. And the thing that leads to retention, as you know, is engagement. And so how do we measure engagement? For us, it just comes down to how much time are people spending in our products and how much are they watching. And we're encouraged by what we're seeing. Just on a global level, last season was the most watched regular season for the NBA. And in our products, we saw significant growth as well. We had both watch hours, live daily watch hours, video views, and average watch time per game. So at the end of the day, our product is about the game and delivering that story. All of those metrics were up significantly, over 30% last season. So we're encouraged by that, and that's a great indicator for us, and we're motivated to keep it going.
So, and what about your own product org design? Like, how do you go about setting up your team, in a way that you can power all of these experiences successfully?
Yeah, great question. So again, like most product organizations or product teams out there, we have to form our team in a way that makes sense for our business, but also is best in class for what product managers want or expect or have proven to be successful in the industry. So we're really focused on creating product teams that are focused on certain functional areas. We have a team that's focused on the live game experience. We have another team focused on the content experience and storytelling. They work really closely with our content editors. We have a team focused on the subscription side of our business and the monetization side. We have an advertising product team. And these teams are all thinking about the experience no matter what platform the product is on. At the same time, we have product managers that are thinking about the platform itself and bringing all of those different functional areas together in a cohesive way and tailored for the platform that a user is using or the device that they're using. Your phone or your connected device is probably different than mine, has different capabilities. So we want to make sure that your MBA experience is just as compelling as mine and tailored for that product.
When you use the word platform, I just want to clarify. I'm thinking about, are we thinking about the internal platform that is powering all the rest of the teams? Or are you also talking about the different devices or TV places or other ways for the users to consume your product?
I was mostly talking about the latter, those different devices that people are using to consume the product, but we also have teams that are thinking about the platform services that enable those products, right? So some of the things that I mentioned at the beginning, identity, video management, those are all platform services that we also have product teams that are focused on that.
How has the user journey evolved as now there are more channels to consume, right? The TV is not the only place, and especially also these next new generation people that are more using phones and whatnot. Like, what are some of those trends that you are seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. We really focus on the NBA app a lot, and what we've seen is a tremendous growth in connected devices, and the consumption patterns and behaviors are different on those devices than on your mobile phone. We see a lot of people come in and out of games on mobile, as you would expect. The watch time is a lot longer on a connected device. And the expectation that fans have is to be able to do more while they're on their couch with, what we call the 10-foot screen. And so this season, we're going to introduce multi-view, which will bring up to 4 games at once on connected devices. So we're really excited about that. And then there's a small but growing fan base that wants to experience the game in really different and imaginative ways. VR is an example. We've had VR experiences going all the way back to 2016, but now we have virtual reality games or games in virtual reality through MetaQuest and Apple Vision Pro and other devices.
So tell me more about that. How is that experience now being received by the users?
Well, what we talked about earlier was the problem that we're always trying to solve for the fan is how close can we get them to the game, right? Knowing that, again, 99% of people will never step foot in the arena. And when we say how close, can we get that person a courtside seat to the game, right? And that's what virtual reality allows you to experience as a fan, because we can put you at any point in the game and really immerse you in the court, in this experience. And as the technology has evolved there, and the fidelity improves, we can put you right into an immersive experience for one game in VR, or you can take 4, 5, 6 games, put them all together, resize them, and watch them how you want. So that's been really interesting for us. We also have a partnership with a company called Cosm that we're really excited about. Cosm, COSM, and we're the first sports league to have a partnership with them. And what Cosm offers is what they call shared reality, not virtual reality, not mixed reality, but shared reality. And the reason why is they've built these domes, essentially half domes, these buildings, and they're streaming 8K versions of the game in this physically immersive environment, but you're not wearing a headset to experience it. You and I are going into a Cosm venue together. We have a seat together, but it feels like we're enveloped in the game. And to bring that experience to life, we are experimenting with different camera angles on the court to make you feel like you're actually there. And so we first did this with the All-Star game in Utah in 2023, and we did it for the Saturday night dunk contest. And it's something else to feel like you're actually standing where the players are standing, watching the champion Matt McClung that year do his dunks, and on this incredibly domed, visual experience. It's called shared reality. So we're going to be in Cosm venues this year in LA and Dallas.
That sounds incredible. I was at the Sphere in Las Vegas not
Yeah.
too long ago, having one of those immersive experiences that was fascinating.
Who were you watching?
I was at a UFC fight.
Nice. Yeah, it must have been incredible.
It was. And it also leads me to my next question, which is, how are you envisioning the future for this type of sports entertainment as there are more and more people who are caring about the game, that they want to experience it in more immersive ways? What is next?
Yeah, so these things that we're experimenting with right now, whether it be Cosm or even just features like multi-view, as those platforms evolve, we're going to try and be on the forefront of what they allow fans to do. We also capture data points on the court and data about where the players are moving at all times, where the ball is moving at all times. And so we think there's a real opportunity to get very creative with that and recreate and simulations of the game for different platforms that give you the kind of control as a fan to be able to see what's actually happening on the court. And depending on the device, be able to move some of those things around. So it's early days for that experimentation. You're definitely going to hear more about that from us soon.
We might need to do another round a year or
Yes.
so from now.
Yeah.
But let's also talk about how you prioritize, right? You are building so many different experiences, and I can imagine some of them are more long-term than others. So what's your prioritization framework?
So I have maybe a hot take. I love prioritization frameworks. I love product roadmap frameworks. We use a lot of different ones depending on the situation. We experiment with a lot of different roadmaps and structures. I hope that a lot of product managers do this. One thing that we found to be really helpful is a framework of now, next, later, right? Just simply saying, what do we care about right now? What's coming next? And what's for us to think about later? And for the NBA, we can put our seasons on top of that. So what's now for this season? What's next later in the season, right? We're about to tip off next week. And so we're thinking really about now and tip off. And then All-Stars next, and then next season and later is, the seasons that follow. So that's a really helpful and easy way for us to put together our priorities and work across the organization. But what I have found is that relationships are better than roadmaps.
Tell me more.
Yeah. So I love roadmaps, and I just wanted to be clear for the audience. Like, I love frameworks. I've used hypothesis modeling frameworks in the past to really precisely articulate how much we think a feature is going to move a certain KPI by how many basis points, and then stack ranking that list based on the weighted score that you come up with. Frameworks like RICE, right, which are very familiar to folks, right? Reach, impact, confidence, and effort, and coming up with a way of scoring all of your initiatives. But in practice, that doesn't work as well as just understanding who your stakeholders are, who your partners are, and what's important for them, and how are they trying to deliver on the mission and the vision that you all share as an organization. And establishing that first and investing in those relationships to understand what's at stake for your partners and your stakeholders, way more effective than having the perfect roadmap on paper, and showing that to people and saying, look at the stack rank here. Again, stack ranks are important. We use them ourselves all the time, and our appetites for what we want to do is, of course, always bigger than what we can do, like every product manager, right? So we're always figuring out where's that line of the things that we think we can achieve. But at the end of the day, having the relationship with your partners and with your stakeholders is going to be way more important than perfecting that.
But Jay, I'm going to leave us all with this because I think it's so profound and powerful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here, and I'd love to come back and do it again when we have these other experiences.
You're on camera. We'll do it again.
Okay.